A very good morning. It is 7 a.m., Monday, March 3rd, 2025. We have made it to March. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, and we're taking your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Sunshine today, maybe a hair, can we say, milder than yesterday? Highs in the mid 30s, or as Mike likes to call it, nearly above freezing, Ken. Meteorologist Mike Pavetta with the complete Garden State forecast for us, and it is a chilly 19 degrees out right
I
now. Right,
know.
Mike?
Somebody forgot to tell winter that it's March because it feels like a throwback to winter after so much cold weather that came blowing through the Garden State on Sunday afternoon. Here we are with so much cold air. It's actually Saturday afternoon where we had that substantial drop in temperatures. And we're left with actual air temperatures right now at 16 degrees over in Flemington, 18 in Morristown, 25 in Newark. These are your actual air temperatures, not the wind chill. When you take those gusts anywhere from 5 to 12 miles per hour, it feels so much colder, like we're still stuck in early February. It feels like 12 right now in Flemington, 18 in Morristown, 18 in Newark, and 14 over in Long Branch. Hey, we made it to 21 in Atlantic City. So yeah, there will be some places that will feel a touch warmer today. Like Ken said, just slightly above freezing, but not much better than that, even with the temperature that's held at about the same temperature where it was this time yesterday, as that cold air sticks around just one more day. So throughout the overnight, we had some thin clouds come in. We'll see a few passing clouds this morning, but generally it's clear across New Jersey, and that'll be the case today. Will the sunshine warm us up? No. It'll stay cold right into the end of the day, with highs reaching just above freezing by noon. We get to 33 in Newark, 35 in Toms River, still holding at 29 there in Ship Bottom. But you notice as tomorrow, temperatures will warm substantially in the morning due to that southerly breeze, and that'll push temperatures into the 40s away from the coast. We'll still be hugging the 30s along the shoreline, but it's still the afternoon temperature, which takes a big jump tomorrow. That puts us back in the upper 50s. So this time of year, depending which way the wind blows, we'll see a big change in temperatures. Could be up near 60 by the end of the day tomorrow in Trenton. That's with the afternoon sun as well. That sets the stage for a round of rain and showers and maybe even some thunderstorms by Wednesday evening. That is Wednesday night's problem. We'll get to that part of the forecast in just a bit. But this is what we get in March with some big temperature swings day by day, even a thunderstorm thrown in there Wednesday evening. I think we hang on to the mild weather for Thursday, but the weekend looks to be a little bit cooler heading into Saturday and Sunday. We'll detail that with a check of your 7-day forecast, Ken. It's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. A chilly 19 degrees now, 7:03. We do have some traffic to talk about. Delays on the New Jersey Turnpike, I-95 express lanes. Northbound, just south of exit 72, we have a problem. This is in Englewood. One left lane is blocked right now. We have delays of the Lincoln Tunnel, the Center Tunnel, eastbound, the New Jersey side in Weehawken. All lanes are open, but now travel time's about 25 minutes. So it's starting to build up, as you can tell. That's just volume there. Delays on the GWB, the lower level eastbound on the New Jersey side of Fort Lee. All lanes open. Travel time is 30 to 35 minutes from 9580 at the Alexander Hamilton Bridge. And we have problems right now in the Holland Tunnel, some delays building up. It is about a 20 to 25-minute delay making your way from New Jersey into New York. So at this hour, it's just about starting. That's where you're starting to get the buildups. We also have delays on the Turnpike outside exit interchange 15E, 1 and 9 in Newark, and that again is due to volume. And we still have, of course, the emergency construction on that sinkhole, I-80 eastbound at exit 34, which is Route 15 in Wharton. All lanes remain closed. Everybody's being diverted off. And again, that problem is going to be here for weeks. They found another sinkhole. And remember, there are some 90 to 100 abandoned, or former, I shouldn't say abandoned, closed iron mines in that whole area. So far, the contractors have checked out about 40 to 50 of them to make sure that they are stable enough so that we won't have another sinkhole. But that's what they're doing. They're making sure that everything is safe for you to drive on. So please give them all the time they need. I know it's a pain. Some people saying it's an hour out of their way to have to go through the detour. I get it, but safety is more important. 7:05 now. A New Jersey independent filmmaker has won Best Director at the 97th Academy Awards. Sean Baker is his name. The award was for his film, Honora. The film also won the award for Best Picture. The independent film took home 5 Oscars out of 6 nominations. In the film, Honora, a young woman from Brooklyn, gets her chance at a Cinderella story when she meets and marries the son of an oligarch. Once the news reaches Russia, her fairy tale is threatened as the parents set out for New York to get the marriage annulled. 7:05. One thing was certain at the Oscars: every single nominee was a winner of a $217,000 gift bag. Imagine a gift bag worth nearly $250,000. Of course, they don't actually give you all the items. They give you certificates that you can then order online. But imagine getting a gift bag worth $250,000. And yes, they do have to report it on taxes. And of course, the IRS knows who got those gift bags, so make sure you report that. The goodie bags were loaded with gifts that included exclusive vacation getaways in faraway places, such as a $24,000 four-night stay on the water in the Maldives, a stay at a five-star cliffside resort in Barcelona, valued at $5,200 a night. Hey, what's wrong with the at La Quinta? Even a $25,000 coupon for lipo, a little liposuction. Looking at some of the ladies who were there last night, though, they don't need lipo. It looks like they need to start pulling out the bagel. 7:06. High school wrestler Anthony Knox has qualified for state after winning a New Jersey region wrestling tournament on Saturday. He will now be trying for his fourth straight state title. Last week, the New Jersey Interscholastic Athletic Association had suspended Knox after the teen was accused of leaving his team's bench area and running into the stands when a fight broke out involving his dad. The suspension would have knocked Knox out of any more competitions, that is, until Friday, when a judge issued a restraining order that permitted Knox to compete. If he wins this coming weekend, he would become New Jersey's fifth four-time state champion. Knox is committed to wrestle at Cornell next year. Pretty amazing, considered one of the best wrestlers in the entire state of New Jersey. 7:07 right now. Tragedy in Clifton. This happened early yesterday, just after midnight, in fact, after a 17-year-old was tragically killed in a crash. A total of 5 people were traveling in separate vehicles. They collided at the intersection of Lakeview and Crooks Avenues in Clifton. Police there say a 17-year-old passenger in one of the vehicles was declared dead at the scene. The cause of the crash has not yet been determined, but anybody with information is being asked to call police in Clifton. 7:07. It looks like Ukraine's president is now begging for another chance to meet with President Trump. Volodymyr Zelensky says that he is still, quote, ready to sign a U.S.-Ukraine minerals deal after leaving the White House without putting pen to paper on Friday. The Ukrainian leader says that despite a challenging meeting with President Trump, he's still willing to have, quote, constructive dialogue with the United States. 7:08. There was a gathering of New Jersey Democratic gubernatorial candidates this weekend, but it was interrupted by pro-Palestinian protesters. Pam, let's roll it. So the protesters had stopped the gathering for a bit until order could be once again restored, but you can imagine how distracting and disturbing that would have been, this happening over the weekend for the group of Democrat gubernatorial candidates in the state of New Jersey. Finally, of course, order was restored, but not for about 20 minutes. Our time now is 7:09, and what would seem like a no-brainer for most people is raising concern for liberals. Congressional Republicans want to introduce a bill that would force people to prove their citizenship before they could register to vote. I mean, what's wrong with that, right? Considering the law actually says only U.S. citizens can vote in U.S. elections. Democrats, who usually love federal regulations, are now complaining that they will need funding to pay for this. I'm not sure why it would cost anything just to ask people to show their ID when they register to vote. Also, local municipalities that currently do allow non-citizens to vote in local elections, something the Trump administration says they want to get rid of eventually, well, they may now encounter challenges as there will have to be separate voter registrations for citizens and non-citizens. Confusion, it seems, that many on the left are happy to have occur. It is 7:10 now. Former New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo's campaign for New York City mayor was made official on Saturday, with the former governor painting himself as the public safety candidate. Former Governor Cuomo was quick to point out that many of the candidates on the left are for defunding police and other things like that. What he failed to point out was the current no bail, no jail situation in New York State was actually his creation when he was governor. So many of the issues involving crime in New York City and New York State, because criminals literally go in and out like a revolving door that police are irritated about, many of those issues are actually directly the blame of Governor Cuomo. 7:10 to the moon. Firefly's aerospace Blue Ghost lander dropped out of lunar orbit and swooped to a rocket-powered touchdown early yesterday, pulling off the first fully successful moon landing by a commercially built and operated robotic spacecraft. How cool is this? Just take a look. It almost looks like it's a Game Boy system or something, but that is actual crystal clear video. It's that clear because there's no atmosphere on the moon. So there's no humidity to obscure the camera shot. You can see how bright the sun is coming from the right side because you can see the way the shadow is in those craters. Dramatic video beamed back from that camera on the outside of the Blue Ghost lander, showing the spacecraft as it came in for landing. The 6.5-foot tall lander coasted for almost an hour before using its main engine and 8 smaller thrusters to reduce its speed from, get this, 3,800 miles an hour, which is almost as fast as Mike Favetta drives on the LIE when he visits relatives there, to just 90 miles an hour as it moved into position above the landing site and finally touched down. I'm kidding, Mike. The privately built and owned spacecraft will be probing the surface of the moon until astronauts can catch up with it sometime in 2027. 7:12 now. Pope Francis remains stable through yesterday. He no longer requires mechanical ventilation to breathe, and he actually ate, was able to communicate with his staff, and a sign of progress as the 88-year-old pontiff battles double pneumonia. But it does appear that he is now stable. Francis has been in Rome's Gemelli Hospital for more than 2 weeks. He was admitted back on February 14th with a severe respiratory infection that triggered other complications. The Vatican says the pontiff's condition has stabilized. He sent out a note thanking everybody for their prayers, but asks that you please continue praying. 7:12, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered an additional 3,000 active duty troops to the southern border, including soldiers equipped with 20-ton armored Stryker combat vehicles. Ostensibly, the thought is that would combat anybody on the Mexican side. There are the cartels who've been firing rockets into the United States. So those combat vehicles would be able to knock those rocket launchers out. Hegseth has ordered the deployment to, quote, reinforce and expand current border security operations to seal the border and protect the territorial integrity of the United States. The Defense Department says the troops are meant to support President Trump's efforts to stop illegal migration and that the administration wants, quote, 100% operational control of the border. It is now a chilly 19 degrees coming up on 7:14. When we come back, New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein has the inside scoop from Trenton. Stand by for the Inside Edge. And meteorologist Mike Favetta returns. He has the latest Garden State forecast. Lots of sunshine today, but just barely a little milder than yesterday. He's telling us highs in the mid-30s, maybe as wild as 36 in some spots. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, which you can stream at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And now we stream live on Rumble and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/OnNewJersey. That's all spelled out. We're back in 2. And welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. It is a chilly 19 degrees at 7:16. Meteorologist Mike Pavetta says we'll have sunshine today, but not really that much milder than yesterday, maybe a couple of degrees. Highs there to the mid 30s. Here's Mike now with the detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Kenya. It's not really going to warm up all that much today. You'll feel the stinging cold when you step outside, just like it's back into the dead of winter, as the calendar may say March, but the weather maps do not, especially with that 19 degrees later on this morning in Morristown, 33 by noon in Newark, 32 in Hackensack, and just breaking that freezing mark in Long Branch, but not for long, especially as those clouds take over later on tonight. So we're sunny throughout the day today. We start off a little cloudy tomorrow, and then with a southerly breeze, the sunshine will warm us up in combination with that wind direction up to near 60 across most of the state. Slightly cooler along the shore points where that wind is coming off of a chilly 35-degree ocean. Now, with that, we'll enjoy the mild weather throughout tomorrow evening, and we stay dry. But Wednesday morning brings back some rain with a sharp cold front. And typically, when there's so much mild air in place, followed by another round of cold, there's some thunderstorms. And that's what's on tap by Wednesday afternoon and early evening. Could hear a few rumbles of thunder, get a few downpours in here by the end of the day Wednesday, just in time for the evening rush. So currently, we'll enjoy the calm, mild weather today. There are some clouds off to our west, but again, no rain as of yet. That rain will come in later on in the day on Wednesday. Forecast today in central New Jersey, a cold one, a mix of clouds and sun, but again, mostly sunny in Long Branch, 36 as your high, 38 in Princeton, and 38 up toward Clinton and Flemington. Weather that is fit for a February. But going into the next few days, you'll notice a mild trend that continues in through Thursday. Even though we start off Thursday a little bit mild with some patchy clouds, the temperature falls throughout the day, much like it did this past weekend on Saturday with that sharp drop in temperatures. So cooler weather arrives for Friday with the sunshine, and while the weekend starts off a bit cloudier, temperatures moderate in the 40s and will likely hang in the 40s most of the day Saturday into Sunday. Better chance of cloud cover on Saturday. I think more sun by the end of the weekend by Sunday. But temperatures also a little bit milder to start off the weekend. 51 on Saturday with that westerly breeze. Then a northwest wind freshens up the air, cools us down back to 44 by Sunday with more sunshine on the way by the end of the weekend. There are some milder days ahead coming up on the 7-day. We'll talk about next week's forecast with that 7-day extended weather. Ken, that's coming up in a few minutes.
All right, we'll be looking forward to that, Mike. Thank you very much. It is still 19 very chilly degrees. 7:18 is our time. We do have a lot of traffic to talk about right now. The GWB, we have a crash on the bridge's upper level eastbound. That's the Upper Trans-Manhattan Expressway in Manhattan. 2 right lanes blocked by the bridge. We have problems now on I-280 eastbound from east of exit 12, the Garden State Parkway at exit 14E, King Street in Newark. The current travel time is about 10 minutes. We also have delays on Route 206 southbound from Drakesdale Road to south of Route 613, Flanders Netcong Road in Mount Olive Township. It's about a 15-minute travel time through there. It's all a lot of volume. Delays on 22 westbound from east of Vauxhall Road in Union Township to west of Hillside Avenue in Hillside Township. Travel time there is about 10 minutes. We also have, I just pressed the wrong button. Sorry, folks, bear with me. We also have delays on Route 23 southbound from north of Reservoir Road to south of Old Ridge Road. There are delays there about 15 minutes. And delays right now on Route 15. That is southbound from north of Taylor Road in Jefferson Township to north of I-80 in Wharton. That's, of course, due to the delays from the sinkhole. And need I tell you again, we have emergency construction and that sinkhole repair on I-80. That is eastbound at exit 34 in Wharton. All lanes remain closed. Everybody getting detoured off. That problem, of course, is because of that sinkhole, and contractors are working to find other sinkholes that may be in the area. There's at least one other they discovered. They need to make sure that area is firmed up and filled in before they could reopen things. In the meantime, traffic being detoured off. It's going to be that way for at least a few weeks. It is 19 degrees at 7:20, and absolutely nobody on earth knows Trenton politics like New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein. Here he is now with the Inside Edge.
Good morning. Welcome to the Inside Edge. Today is Monday, March 3rd. In New Jersey, vacancies for the legislature and for county commissioner are filled at special election conventions by elected members of the county committee of the party that won the office in the last general. So it was the special election for Burlington County Commissioner on Saturday, the race to fill Assemblyman Balveer Singh's seat that caught my attention. You needed 50% plus one to win. This race went to a second ballot. Randy Brolo of the Laborers Union won. But here's what I noticed. A total of 51 county committee votes, about 1 in 5 votes dropped off between the first and the second ballot. Now, this could be a reflection on proxy voting, but this isn't an infrequent occurrence. In the Wimberley-Sumter Senate race, which was tied on the first ballot and elected a senator by 1 vote on the second ballot, turnout by county committee was critical. And so it got me thinking about the role of county committee, because it's hard for me to imagine that someone wants to hold this office, Democrat or Republican, and then skip a vote to determine who fills a vacancy. But I guess more importantly, what will be the role of county committee members in this new office block ballot era without county lines? County committee members are elected by voters in their own neighborhood. They elect municipal chairs, they elect county chairs, maybe state committee members. We'll see if the governor signs that bill. And in some places, now they vote in conventions to award just a slogan, not a line. But here's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to help their candidates win primary and general elections. Ideally, they should welcome new residents to the neighborhood with voter registration forms. They should be chasing vote by mail ballots. They should be turning out voters on election day, canvassing their neighborhood, doing lit drops, and persuading undecided voters. Basically, they are the front lines of a political party organization. They're the eyes and the ears of the party in a voting district. If they don't do at least that in Union City, Brian Stack's just going to replace them. But across the state, some county committee do their job, some don't. But without lines, party organizations are going to need to increasingly rely on county committee to win these elections. And if they don't, then they're no longer going to remain relevant, and their organization endorsements won't matter. That's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back tomorrow.
All right, David, thank you very much. It is now 19 degrees at 7:24. Dan Bongino, the incoming deputy director of the FBI, suggested on his popular podcast last month, actually in January, that the agency that he's now about to help lead was complicit in planting pipe bombs around Washington ahead of the Capitol riot back in January of 2021. A former Secret Service agent and NYPD officer, Bongino has called the FBI a corrupt agency and suggested that it doctored surveillance footage of the January 6th pipe bomb suspect, suggesting the bomb was planted by law enforcement to create a narrative that Trump supporters were trying to assassinate then Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. One thing that Bongino did say was he did want to investigate that further, so it's not known where the investigation will go, but he hasn't made it a secret that he does believe this was a setup on the inside from FBI agents. It is 7:25 now. Israeli leaders may have ignored warning signs at the October 7th attack. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office has acknowledged that the premier's intelligence officer had received an Israel Defense Forces memo, IDF, detailing suspicious Hamas activity 3 hours before the terror group's October 7th, 2023 invasion and onslaught, and did not pass it on. The admission came in response to a TV report that said the IDF had drafted a document setting out the numerous worrying signs of Hamas activity in Gaza that night and sent it out to intelligence officers of 7 key Israeli leaders. The IDF did not investigate why the material was not passed on because its investigations of the October 7th failures did not touch on the political echelon. 726. Americans are largely split on which groups of children they think should automatically become citizens. That's according to a new YouGov survey. The survey was released on Friday. It includes 51% of respondents who support the view that all children born in the U.S., whether the parents are from another country or not, whether they're citizens of another country or not, should automatically become citizens. Meanwhile, 39% of respondents align with the view that children born in the U.S. should automatically become citizens only if their parents are citizens or legal residents. Another 9% said they are not sure. But remember that America, the United States, is the only country on the planet that has this view that even if you are visiting from another country and you're citizens of, pick a country, Lithuania, and you come to the United States on vacation and you are pregnant and you give birth a month early. This is the only country on the planet that says, oh, your child's an American citizen. I think a lot of people in Lithuania would take objection to that and say, no, parents are Lithuanian citizens. The child is a Lithuanian citizen. Only here do we say, if you're born here, are you an American citizen? Remember that law, the 14th Amendment, only came about in order to ensure that children born of slaves, once slavery was abolished, that the children born of slaves, because the parents were automatically citizens of the U.S., so therefore their children become citizens. That's why that was enacted, and for no other reason. It was never meant to allow people visiting this country to become citizens. In fact, there was a carve-out. If you were the child of an ambassador from another country and you're born here, you're not considered a citizen. So why is it that if you're visiting and not an ambassador, you are considered a citizen? It really is illogical, and it's something that I promise you will end up at the Supreme Court. Bet you didn't know that the U.S. has never had an official language. You probably thought English was the official language, right? Because it's spoken by the vast majority of citizens here. It's always been considered the language associated with business and success, while Spanish spoken as a distant second. That's the second most popular, but like by a distant second. Well, it's all changed. On Saturday, President Trump signed an executive order that makes English the official language of the United States, meaning it will be the official language of the government and the official language taught in school. While this hasn't been clarified, some have hypothesized this could mean that schools may not be required to teach classes in different languages. And government forms don't have to be available in multiple languages. Right now, if you go into your local city hall, you'll find forms that you have to fill out in about 20 different languages. Having not one official language has often led to confusion and significant added expense for local school districts, police departments, hospitals, and other public facilities that had to scramble to find interpreters who could translate scores of languages and make forms available in whatever language they were presented with. A new study has revealed that palm trees once flourished in what is now subarctic Canada, offering new insights into ancient Arctic climates. It's believed that the Earth's axis has been tilted in different directions over the millennia. So it's very possible that based on what they found in the subarctic climates of Canada, that the Earth was actually tilted in such a way that that part of the world was facing the sun. So that part of Canada was actually closest to the sun, creating a tropical climate. The research was published in the Annals of Botany and confirms that the region maintained warm temperatures year-round about 48 million years ago, near when I was born, even during months of winter darkness. Researchers said the study challenges previous assumptions about when and where ice first formed in the Northern Hemisphere. It is now 19 degrees at 7:29 when ONNJ Mornings returns. It is March. Time to remind everybody the joy there is in reading. We'll talk with Monmouth County Commissioner Anderson about literacy with Read Across America. And meteorologist Mike Favetta will be back with a sunny but cold Garden State forecast. Plus, we will take your calls at 1-888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. ONNJ Mornings is coming right back. A very good morning to you, 7:32. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. A little bit of sunshine today, but highs only making it to the mid-30s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the complete chilly Garden State forecast for us. Mike, this is meteorological, right? Spring. So Mother Nature,
Technically,
maybe we should
yes.
make you, hang on a second. I have speed dial. I have look, it's under M, Mother
Okay.
Nature.
Mm.
She told me to go to hell. What does that mean?
Oh, well, she directs me to spam. Just kind of hits the buy button and gives you the finger. With kind of so much cold weather, yeah, it's not working out well. So if you'd like to redirect your call, please try again later, because that is what's happening today with another round of cold weather, making it feel like winter. Technically, Ken's right. We are in meteorological spring. You'd never know it by looking at this weather with the cold weather that sticks around today. Yeah, it gets a little milder tomorrow with the rain on Wednesday, but then it's right back to the chill this upcoming weekend. As far as today, South Jersey temperatures hold in the 30s. Maybe you get up to 40 over toward Camden and Glassboro, but beyond that, it's going to be a cold day ahead. Temperatures running well below average by at least 10 degrees, far from the record back in 1972 at 78. Well, with the clear sky today, the sunshine will look nice, but it won't do very much to warm us up as that cold weather sticks around through this afternoon. Then we look ahead to the mild weather tomorrow and then the rain on Wednesday, which will bring a good soaking to New Jersey, drying things out by Friday, and then another possible sprinkle, I think, on Saturday. But I think most of the state stays dry. The rainfall totals to Wednesday night into Thursday will be impressive, anywhere from 1 to 2 inches in the northern sections of the state, across places where the drought is pretty hit hard, like in Monmouth and Ocean County, and even down toward Atlantic and Cape May counties. Less than a half inch for you. So beyond that, I think even though the air quality today remains pretty good, we're below that 50 level in terms of numbers. Our forecast looks nice and dry going forward. So we enjoy the clear sky tomorrow, bring back a few clouds later in the day, and then a mild stretch of air comes in for tomorrow afternoon. That is followed by the rain on Wednesday, and some of that will be heavy downpours with the gusty winds, maybe even some thunder and lightning as the front pushes by. That'll provide a little bit of a cool down for Thursday, but definitely you'll feel the chill return by Friday. And with that cold weather comes in another round of chilly air for the weekend. So as we go forward, while the temperatures look decent by Wednesday, climbing up to near 60 across most of New Jersey, we'll feel a little bit of a cooler stretch by Thursday and Friday, and then back down into the lower 50s by Saturday, albeit dry for the most part this upcoming weekend in northern New Jersey. The shore points also see that rain, especially for Wednesday, not as intense, again, likely a light rain there, as the front loses a lot of its energy by the middle of the week. But Thursday and Friday, again, sees that cool down with more clouds on Saturday, but generally a dry second half of the weekend for Sunday. So Ken, all in all, not terrible, but there are these big swings day to day that give us some gusty wind events as well. I think Thursday into Friday gets very breezy here across New Jersey. So hang on to your hats by week's end.
So much for meteorological spring. That's why there's meteorological spring and real spring. Mother Nature says, wait till real spring. You can take your meteorological spring and do what you want with it. She calls the shots. Never, ever argue with Mother Nature. All right. Thank you very much, Mike. We'll check back with you in a bit. It's 7:35 and a chilly 19 degrees. Looking down here at the traffic, we have delays on Route 139. This is in Jersey City. We have problems on the lower level of Route 139, east of Tunnelly Avenue to Jersey Avenue, Jersey City, about a 15-minute travel time. Delays at the Lincoln Tunnel Center Tunnel, eastbound New Jersey side, the Toll Plaza in Weehawken. All lanes are open, but now it's 20 to 25 minutes in to the New York side. We also have delays, let's see, on the GWB lower level, eastbound the Jersey side in Fort Lee. All lanes are open, but now travel time is 30 to 40 minutes on I-95. That's pretty long to get in on the GWB at this hour. It's just morning traffic. And again, as people head eastbound, they get the glare of the sun in their eyes, today being a sunny day. We talked about this last week. That's when they tend to hit their brakes. We also have delays now on 1 and 9 northbound from south of Bergen Boulevard in Palisades Park to south of US 9W, Route 9W in Fort Lee. The travel time there's about 15 minutes. Again, that's volume. Pardon me. And we have that emergency construction and sinkhole repair on I-80 eastbound in Wharton Township It's going to be going on for a while. There's a second sinkhole that was found, and crews are now checking the entire area for any voids underground that may cause future sinkholes, so we don't have to shut things down all over again. So it may take a few weeks, but they're trying to do the job right now, so you don't have everything reopen and then in 2 weeks have it close and then reopen, etc. So we should all take a nice deep breath. It's kind of a pay now so that we have the reward later. It is 7:37, 19 degrees. March kicks off with a nationwide celebration of literacy through Read Across America. It's an initiative that inspires children and adults alike to dive into the world of books. Nothing like the smell of a book. I don't know about you. I'm not into like reading on the phone. I want to see a book and smell a book and see the illustration. It's exciting. In Monmouth County, the effort is being championed by County Commissioner Erik Anderson, who serves as a liaison to the Monmouth County Library System. Commissioner Anderson joins us now. Good morning, and thanks for joining us this early morning.
Thanks for having me, Ken. Great to see you.
You bet.
We're very
Same
excited here in
Well,
Monmouth County. Oh, sorry,
it's a
talk
big
over you.
deal.
I apologize.
That's all right. No, we do it all the time. There's a delay, so it's all good. Can you tell us why the initiative is so vital for shaping young minds in Monmouth County and across the state, too?
Well, there's a real emphasis and push to get children off of the devices to one like you just held up and actually getting their nose into a book. Monmouth County Library System is one of the best in the state, and we're really pushing this initiative. The Board of Commissioners are working really, really hard to put an emphasis on this important week and the entire month and getting kids out and getting them engaged and getting them involved in reading books. And our library system is doing a bunch of events this week and throughout the month to really foster that and encourage Read Across America.
So Read Across America kicked off yesterday, right? It coincides with Dr. Seuss's birthday. And that's, by the way, how I learned to read. The Green Eggs and Ham was my book. My mom had worked in Montessori schools. She taught. I remember when I was 2.5, people say, you can't remember at the age of 2.5. I remember at 2.5, literally learning Green Eggs and Ham beginning to end. So that has a special place in my heart. I know they've said all sorts of things about Dr. Seuss. I give him an absolution, though, because he helps so many kids to read. So what is the significance of tying the celebration to this iconic figure in children's literature?
I mean, Dr. Seuss, everyone has read Dr. Seuss. I have 3 boys, 17, 14, and 12, and it was a staple in our household. And he's an icon. And he's really been kind of that gateway for our younger learners to get excited about reading. Green Eggs and Ham. Those books are things that children will remember. And when they started this program back in 1998, they used his legacy to kick it off. And it's been growing stronger ever since. And Dr. Seuss is part of this process and shouldn't be forgotten.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, not only does he make reading fun, because of the rhyming, etc., it helps you memorize. The way I learned it, and I'm sure a lot of kids learned it, is by memorizing the poetry of it, that when you see the words, you start to associate. So what I was able to do was I had the memorization of the words, and then look down, and my mother would say, well, that's that word, and that's that word. And that's how I was able to learn to read. So I suddenly started to spot letters and phrases and figured it out. So before I was 3, I learned to read because I was fortunate enough to have a mom who sat down with me and kind of went over books like that. But I'm sure millions of kids learn to read because of Dr. Seuss. Now, the National Education Association has focused recent themes on diversity in reading, which is so important. This year's being Create and Celebrate a Nation of Diverse Readers. How do you see this emphasis on inclusivity playing out in the programs and resources that you offer in the Monmouth County Library System?
So we're very fortunate. Our system itself is one of the largest circulating libraries in the state. We have almost 2 million items in our library. We have over 100,000 digital books. And very importantly, we also have a number of materials, I think over 20,000 in different languages. So we really work hard in the library system to reach all segments of Monmouth County and work very hard to make sure there is something for everybody, whether you're 90 years old or 5 years old. And it's an emphasis in our system.
Yeah, it's funny. I recently moved, Commissioner, and one of the things I found in a box was my library card, because I'm born and raised in Westchester County, and I found my library card from when I was maybe 8 years old. And back then, they used to have a machine that pressed a little metal plate that had a number on it. That's how they had a record of who took out the book. And just seeing that card brought back so many memories, because for me, having access to a library like that meant literally access to the world. You had access to the knowledge of the universe. And I used to get excited about going to libraries. And that's what I think so many kids lose by going to the electronics. Yeah, technically you have access here, but you don't know what you're going to get. When you see the big picture in front of you and you see all the thousands of books in front of you, there's so much more excitement, I think. And there is something about the scent of a book. It's kind of engrosses all of the senses. Now you've had the chance to participate in Read Across America events. You read to elementary school students. What's it like to see the impact of going to these events firsthand? And is there a specific moment that sticks out in your mind?
It's amazing, and you are right. You know, there's nothing better than walking into a library and actually seeing the books. And you know, when we have the opportunity, and I've had the opportunity to go to read to students, you know, initially they look at it as, oh, good, we get a break from classroom time. And then I like to go in and read books about the importance of elections and voting and historical, you know, important historical American figures. And it's great because they always ask amazing questions. And it's fun for me because I get to do it often in my hometown where I used to be mayor and went to grammar school. So I've gone and had an opportunity to go read to classes and actually have had my kids in the classes. So it's a neat treat, and it's fun and it's exciting. And it's always great when the kids ask questions and actually are engaged.
It's amazing. And Monmouth County, by the way, is a beautiful county. Somebody coming from lower New York State, I only visited Monmouth for the first time about 7 or 8 years ago. And the beauty of the county is just stunning. And you guys have 13 different library branches in Monmouth County. What resources would you encourage families and individuals to explore during Literacy Month?
So we have so many diverse programs throughout our branches, from our headquarters in Manalapan to the Eastern Branch in Shrewsbury and everywhere in between. Something that is really neat that I really enjoy is that we have like sensory playroom for children that also encourage, you know, reading. So you need to come and check out our children's sections. They're great. They foster learning. It's a comfortable environment, and they have great programs for the children and the parents. So I would definitely recommend that you know, people in the county and even people throughout the state come and visit everything we have to offer in our great system.
So you talk about parents too. So this isn't just for kids this month, it's also for adults, because there are a lot of adults, let's face facts. A lot of adults don't read because they either have challenges reading or they just simply do not take the time to read. And I always find that when you force yourself to just set aside some me time and read a book, go on vacation, I always look forward to when I'm going on vacation to finding the book. I make it an event. Find the book you're going to read when you're on vacation and just make that something you look forward to. And that's just your time. That's just so exciting. And you just can't do that reading on a phone. It's different. What is your message to viewers about making reading a daily habit, whether it's for learning, work, or just for fun?
I'm a big believer. I try every day to read 10 or 20 minutes of just something unrelated to work, unrelated to being a commissioner. You know, it's my time, kind of like you said, Ken. Get an opportunity to either explore the world or learn something different. You know, I'm about to go away, and I've actually did the exact same thing you did, and got the book that I want to read while I'm going to be out of town, because that's my time, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I really encourage everyone who's watching to put the device down. Take 10 minutes, invest in yourself, read a book. And if you get a chance, come and see one of our 13 great branches and libraries in Monmouth County. And Ken, you're more than welcome to come back and visit whenever you want to. We'd love to have you.
I just, I'm even confused about how it works because I live part-time in Florida and part-time in New Jersey. I go back and forth. I'm a resident of Northern New Jersey, though, legally. Can you get a library card anywhere in the state and go to any library, or do you have to get it within the county?
You have to get it within the county. So, but even if
Okay.
you're out of Monmouth County, you can still get a library card.
Okay, that's easy enough. Easily said. Can you do it online?
I believe you can. Yes, if you go to monmouthcountylib.org, check it out. You can get a library card there.
See how I put you on the spot? Because that means I'm going to go online after the show this morning and do it. So I will do that. Monmouth
Great.
County Commissioner Erik Anderson, please don't be a stranger. You come back anytime. And thank you so much for being with us this morning. It sounds like it's going to be a great month.
Thank you so much, and you have a great day, Ken.
You too, Commissioner. Thank you, sir. It is 19 degrees at 7:47 when On New Jersey Mornings continues. Meteorologist Mike Pavetta says it'll be really sunny today, but not too much milder. It's going to still be chilly. Highs only in the mid 30s. He'll have the complete Garden State forecast in just a moment. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, which you can stream at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And now we stream live on Rumble and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/OnNewJersey. Spell it all out. ONNEWJERSEY. It's not NJ. We're coming back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. 19 degrees, 7:50 is our time. Meteorologist Mike Pavetta says sunshine today, but cold. Highs only in the mid 30s. Here's Mike now with the detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
That's right, Ken. This is our last week of before 7 a.m. sunrises, because next week, when we skip ahead an hour, we go back to darker mornings, but at least we get the afternoons a little bit brighter with later sunsets. So good news as we spring forward later this weekend. Our forecast for the meantime is still feeling like the middle of winter. 38 degrees is our high in Hackensack, 38 in Jersey City, and 37 back in Washington, 35 chilly up in Newton. At least throughout this afternoon, we stay nice and clear, we stay dry, no threat of any rain until Wednesday. And once that passes through, we get another dry stretch, the long-range futurecast, through Thursday and Friday. Just a few clouds around for Thursday, and then the sunshine returns by Friday. Now into the weekend, starting off Saturday and Sunday, there could be a few showers around, especially to our north, maybe with some flurries upstate, but our forecast in New Jersey should stay dry as this weekend looks to remain quite clear. Maybe some extra clouds on Saturday, 51 as the high, but we're back in the 40s by Sunday with another chilly finish to the weekend. Even though it's a cloudy start to the weekend and a sunnier finish, there is some milder weather on the way for next week. We'll talk more about that with the longer range forecast, take you into the first few weeks of March with the extended climate outlook. Ken, that's coming up in your next weather update.
The extended climate outlook. At this point, I'm hoping the climate gives us some warmth, Mike. I'm tired of the cold. 19 is not fair.
You and me both.
I'm beginning to think the groundhog was right, but that doesn't mean insult to you. I'm just saying. I think he might have been right. All right, Mike. Don't get mad at me. I'm sorry. I know Mike is going to send a horse's head to my place next week. I'm sorry. All right, buddy. We'll check back in a little bit. I appreciate you. It is 19 degrees now. It's 7:53, and checking some traffic in the area. We have delays on Route 1 northbound from Quaker Bridge Road to north of Alexander Road in West Windsor Township. All lanes are open, but we do have a lot of delays due to volume there. We have problems now on I-280 westbound from exit 16E Essex Street in Harrison to exit 14E King Street in Newark. The current travel time there is at least 10 minutes due to volume again. Pockets of volume 295 southbound from south of exit 34 Route 70 in Cherry Hill Township to south of exit 26S. That's again due to some volume at this point. We have a problem on the New Jersey Turnpike, Hudson County Extension, a crash there on the Turnpike. That's eastbound west of Newark Bay Bridge in Newark. The left lane is now blocked through that area. And we have delays on 495 eastbound from west of Route 3 to Kennedy Boulevard in North Bergen Township. The current travel time is about 10 minutes, again, due to volume. Finally, we do have pockets of volume 295 northbound from exit 25, which is Delsey Drive in Westville, to exit 32, Haddonfield Berlin Road in Cherry Hill Township. All lanes open again, just some problems there due to volume. And finally, that sinkhole. I-80 eastbound, this is going to be ongoing. You should have it memorized at this point, and I do have it memorized. I-80 eastbound, we have that ongoing sinkhole repair work at exit 34 in Wharton. That's going to go on for weeks because there are other voids. They found at least one other sinkhole, and there are about 90 voids that they have to make sure get filled properly so that they are stable enough so when we reopen the roadway, it'll be safe for you to travel on. 7:54 right now. A New Jersey independent filmmaker has won Best Director at the 97th Academy Awards. Sean Baker is his name. The award was for his film Honora. The film also won the award for Best Picture. The independent film took home 5 Oscars, 6 nominations. In the film, Honora, a young woman from Brooklyn, gets her chance at a Cinderella story when she meets and marries the son of an oligarch. Once the news reaches back to Mother Russia, her fairy tale is threatened as the parents set out for New York to get the marriage annulled. But nonetheless, a New Jersey boy done good. And one thing was certain at the Oscars, every nominee was a winner of sorts because they all got to take home a $217,000 gift bag. The goodie bags were loaded with gifts that included exclusive vacation getaways in faraway places, such as a $24,000 4-night stay on the water in the Maldives, a stay at the 5-star or a 5-star Cliffside Resort in Barcelona, valued at $5,200 a night, even $25,000 in LIPO. It is 7:56. High school wrestler Anthony Knox has qualified for state after winning a New Jersey region wrestling tournament Saturday. He'll now be trying for his 4th straight state title. Last week, the New Jersey Interscholastic Athletic Association suspended Knox after the teen was accused of leaving his team's bench area and running into the stands when a fight broke out involving his dad. The suspension would have knocked Knox out of any more competitions. That is until Friday, when a state judge ordered a restraining order permitting Knox to compete. If he wins this coming weekend, he would become New Jersey's 5th 4-time state champion. Knox is committed to wrestle at Cornell next year. Tragedy in Clifton early yesterday, just after midnight, after a 17-year-old was killed in a crash. A total of 5 people were traveling in separate vehicles when they collided at the intersection of Lakeview and Crooks Avenues. A 17-year-old passenger was declared dead at the scene. The cause of the crash not yet determined. Anyone with information is being asked to call Clifton Police. 7:57, it looks like Ukraine's president is begging for another chance to meet with President Trump. Volodymyr Zelensky says he is, quote, ready to sign a U.S.-Ukraine minerals deal after leaving the White House without putting pen to paper. The Ukrainian leader said that despite a challenging meeting with President Trump Friday, he is still willing to have, quote, constructive dialogue with the U.S. Tired of bananas turning brown on you right after you get them home? Who isn't? Then you got to make banana bread again and again, right? Or toss them. I hate mushy brown bananas. Well, scientists in Britain have developed bananas that don't go brown and mushy even after you peel them. They stay white. The experts have altered the fruit's genetics. What could possibly go wrong? So it remains firm, fresh, and yellow about 24 hours after you peel them, even when you slice them. Other than that, the fruit looks, smells, and tastes just like any ordinary banana. By the way, the new banana will be available in the U.S. pretty soon from now, starting less than a month at the end of March. It is now 25 degrees. They updated it. I guess they didn't update it for about an hour. 25 degrees now at 7:58. When we come back, it is the end of Skype, what this means for your work calls and the alternatives that you can use. Plus, meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with a sunny and milder, if you include a degree as milder, Garden State forecast. Not really. It's going to only be the mid-30s. And we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. This is On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, and we are coming right back. A very good morning. It's 8:01, Monday, March 3rd, 2025. We've made it to March. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Sunshine today, and not much milder than yesterday. Highs in the mid-30s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the complete Garden State forecast for us. Good morning, Mike. I got all excited because the temperature from Trenton popped up from 19 to 25 like that. It must be
wow. Look at that. Must be the sun. Yeah. Love when that happens in early morning. You see how the sun just hits the weather sensor and goes, oh, it's going to be so warm today. And yet we're still below the freezing mark. It'll stay really cold today, Ken. Can't get around that. It's also quite dry without the rain that we are hoping for through this week. There'll be a good soaking once we get to Wednesday. But that's really for the northern section of the state. Where the drought is worst right now in Atlantic and Cape May counties, especially the kind of the breadbasket of New Jersey, where a lot of the Garden State gets its name, the farms south of 195. The drought continues, and it's moderate to severe, even extreme in this red area. Can't get a good round of soaking rain in here, even on Wednesday, where most of that wet weather will fall in the northern section of the state, but at least the last 30 days has seen a bit of an improvement. As far as rainfall goes, we've seen that deficit up to an inch in northern New Jersey. A lot of aquifers up here, reservoirs feeding the northern towns of New Jersey. But at least over the next few weeks, in the next 2 weeks, we'll have above average temperatures. That's a lot of red splashed on the map for the eastern half of the U.S., really anywhere east of the Rockies. There's a good chance of seeing above average temperatures through the middle of the month. So we look to see a little bit of a milder trend, even though there'll be some cool stretches in there. As far as rainfall, equal chances of wet weather going forward into the middle of this month. So we'll take it day by day as we see some warmer days and some colder days. Today, certainly being one of those colder days. Highs will climb back into the 50s tomorrow and stay there for Wednesday as that rain comes down in the afternoon. Wednesday morning's commute should be dry. I think the rain is on tap for Wednesday afternoon's commute. We'll talk more about that with the future casts coming up next. Mild weather sticks around for Thursday, but a cold, gusty breeze sends our highs back down into the 40s for Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday. It's a split weekend, slightly above average, but again, we'll take it with a dry weekend ahead. Southern New Jersey has less of a chance of rain, kind of spotty showers by the middle of the week on Wednesday. That's primarily Wednesday night. Clearing by Thursday with some leftover clouds, lots of sun on Friday, and then again, cooler this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. But 50s for the first weekend, or actually second weekend in March, not all that bad, considering this is also the time of year that not only are there big temperature swings from day to day, but this is also nor'easter season, and there are none of those on the map, at least for the next 7 days. So Ken, we'll take it, given that even spring is on hold for today. There are some milder days ahead in the forecast.
So the nor'easters happen because of the clash of the warm and the cold, right? You get the warm moving its way up from the south, and then you get the cold from the northeast, and hence the name nor'easter, and the two clash right over our heads. Is that basically what happens? Sort of like
That is
the
basically what
northern
happens.
version of a
Also,
hurricane.
more solar energy. So there's more solar energy this
Oh.
time of year. We had a lot of daylight during the month of March, and that helps to aid in the jet stream, creating some big imbalances in the atmosphere, since the nor'easters are driven and powered by the atmosphere, not by ocean heats like a hurricane, like you mentioned.
I love talking to meteorologists like yourself because a lot of people just think, oh, he does the weather. No, meteorologists are trained, and I'm not blowing smoke right now, but they are trained scientists. You have studied science extensively, and I appreciate that knowledge. So thank you very much, Mike. Whenever we can, let's show it off because you studied very hard for it. So we appreciate you, buddy. All right, Mike. Thank you. See, he's shy. He's shy now, but Mike is a brilliant meteorologist. It is 8:05 right now, 25 degrees, and we do have some traffic to talk about on the New Jersey Turnpike. We have problems. Hudson County Extension eastbound west of Newark's Bay Bridge. All lanes have just reopened, but we have vehicles involved in a crash that have been moved to the right shoulder. So you know there are going to be some rubbernecking delays as you make your way through that area. We have problems right now on the GWB. In fact, both the upper and lower levels eastbound from Fort Lee, all lanes are open, but now we're up to about 35 minutes on the upper level, 45 minutes on the lower level. And a lot of that is eastbound traffic. Not only is it volume, but again, as you head east, the bright, glaring sunshine in people's eyes cause everybody to go slowly. So we determine that now every single morning. That's the problem. So as you head into the city, you're now up to 45-minute delays on the GWB because of that glaring sun and volume. We have delays at the Lincoln Tunnel, the Center Tunnel, eastbound New Jersey side toll plaza in Weehawken. All lanes are open, but travel time is now about 25 to 30 minutes. And problems at the Holland Tunnel. Again, this is just a delay issue. Of course, it just popped off my screen as I talked to you. As they update it, this happens. This is eastbound, 20 to 25 minutes traveling from exits 14C and about 20 minutes from the Tunnelly Circle going into Manhattan. Of course, we have the problem still on eastbound I-80 at exit 34 in Horton Township. That is because of that sinkhole. That's going to take another few weeks. We don't have an exact date that it'll be reopened yet because they're trying to find other potential sinkholes. They know they have at least one more. They have to make sure that area is totally shored up before they reopen. And then, of course, right now everyone's being detoured off. That's causing 30 to 60-minute delays for a lot of folks. I know it's a pain, but this is all for safety. 8:07 is our time. And what do laser tag, bowling, online gambling, and vapes have in common? They're all on the list of items that Governor Phil Murphy says should be taxed or should have tax increases to help generate $1.25 billion in revenue for his huge, bloated, proposed $58.1 billion state budget. The Democratic governor's list of newly taxable activities in his budget proposal is extensive, to say the least. It includes baseball batting cages, basketball and tennis courts. If you participate. If you don't participate, you don't have to pay the tax. I don't know how they would get the tax if you don't participate. I'm just saying. Pool halls. Can't even go to a pool hall. And bungee jumping. Bungee jumping is going to be taxed. There's more. Wait. If you go fishing piers, that's going to be taxed more. Greens fees at golf courses and driving ranges, health and fitness clubs. I mean, what about the incentive to go work out? Now you're going to have to be taxed on it. Miniature golf, parachute jumping, paintball, skating rinks, skeet, shooting ranges, skiing lift tickets, speedways, swimming pools, and water slides. There is nothing that a Democrat has ever thought of that they can't tax. Anything to tax. And what do they do with the money? Let's figure it out. 8:08 is the time. A New Jersey independent filmmaker has won Best Director at the 97th Academy Awards. Sean Baker is his name. The award was for his film Honora. The film also won the award for Best Picture. The independent film took home 5 Oscars out of 6 nominations. In the film, Honora, a young woman from Brooklyn, gets a Cinderella story when she meets and marries the son of an oligarch. Once the news reaches back to Russia, her fairy tale is threatened as the parents set out for New York to get the marriage annulled. And one thing was certain at the Oscars, every single nominee won $250,000 gift bag. You heard right. And yes, it is taxable. They have to file their taxes or auction off what they have inside those gift bags. The goodie bags were loaded with gifts that included exclusive vacation getaways in faraway places, such as a $24,000 4-night stay on the water in the Maldives, a stay at a 5-star cliffside resort in Barcelona valued at $5,200 a night, even $25,000 in LIPO. High school wrestler Anthony Knox has qualified for state after winning a New Jersey region wrestling tournament Saturday. He'll now be trying for his 4th straight state title. Last week, the New Jersey Interscholastic Athletic Association suspended Knox after the team was accused of leaving his team's bench area and running up into the stands when a fight broke out involving his dad. The suspension would have knocked Knox out of any more competitions. That is until this past Friday when a judge issued a restraining order permitting Knox to compete. If Knox wins this coming weekend, he would become New Jersey's 5th ever 4-time state champion. Knox is committed to wrestle at Cornell next year. There was a tragedy in Clifton early yesterday, just after midnight, after a 17-year-old was killed in a crash. A total of 5 people were traveling in separate vehicles when they collided at the intersection of Lakeview and Crooks Avenues. A 17-year-old passenger was declared dead at the scene, and the cause of that crash has not yet been determined. But if you know anything about it, Clifton police are asking that you give them a call. It looks like Ukraine's president is begging for another chance to meet with President Trump. Volodymyr Zelensky says he is still, quote, ready to sign a U.S.-Ukraine minerals deal after leaving the White House without putting pen to paper on Friday. The Ukrainian leader said that despite a challenging meeting with President Trump last week, he's still willing to have, quote, constructive dialogue with the U.S. What would seem like a no-brainer for most people is raising concerns for Democrats. Congressional Republicans want to introduce a bill that would force people to prove their citizenship before they could register to vote. I mean, what is wrong with that, considering the law says only U.S. citizens can vote in U.S. elections? Democrats always have issues with things that seem logical. They usually love federal regulations, except for things like this. They complain that they will now need funding to pay for this. I'm not sure why it would cost anything to ask somebody to show their citizenship proof when they register to vote. Also, local municipalities that currently allow non-citizens to vote, usually liberal municipalities, in local elections, may now encounter challenges as there will have to be separate voter registrations for citizens and non-citizens. Confusion, it seems, that many on the left were very happy to have occur. 8:11 is our time. Former New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo's campaign for New York City mayor was made official Saturday, with the former governor painting himself as the public safety candidate. You will hear lots more in the coming weeks. Finally, to the moon. Firefly Aerospace's Blue Ghost lander dropped out of lunar orbit and swooped to a rocket-powered touchdown early yesterday. Check out this cool video, pulling off the first fully successful moon landing by a commercially built and operated robotic spacecraft, not a government spacecraft. Dramatic video you could see here, beamed back from a camera on the Blue Ghost lander, shows the spacecraft as it came in for a moon landing. The 6.6-foot tall lander coasted for about an hour before using its main engine and 8 smaller thrusters to reduce its speed from 3,800 miles an hour, kind of the speed overnights on the New Jersey Turnpike, right, to just 90 miles an hour as it moved into position above the landing site and finally touched down. The privately built and owned spacecraft will be probing the surface of the moon until astronauts catch up with it in the year 2027. And Pope Francis remained stable through yesterday and no longer required mechanical ventilation to breathe in, a sign of progress as the 88-year-old pontiff battles double pneumonia. Francis has been in Rome's Gemelli Hospital for more than 2 weeks. He was admitted on February 14th with a severe respiratory infection that triggered other complications. The Vatican says the pontiff's condition has stabilized. He sent out a note thanking everyone for their prayers and says, please continue to pray. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered an additional 3,000 active duty troops to the southern border, including soldiers equipped with 20-ton armored Stryker combat vehicles. That's because we've been taking missile fire in some cases from cartels on the Mexican side. So this equipment would blast those missile launchers and the people doing the launching. Hegseth has ordered the deployment to, quote, reinforce and expand current border security operations to seal the border and protect the territorial integrity of the United States. The Defense Department says the troops are meant to support President Trump's efforts to stop illegal migration and that the administration wants 100% operational control of the border. It is 25 degrees at 8:14. When we come back, it is the end of Skype as we know it, what this means for your work calls and the alternatives you can use. Plus, meteorologist Mike Pavetta returns with a sunny Garden State forecast, though it's not going to be that much warmer. And we're taking your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. This is On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, and we're coming right back. It is 8:15. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. 25 balmy degrees in New Jersey. Meteorologist Mike Pavetta has the work week Garden State forecast sunny, not so much milder. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Hi, Mike.
Hey there, Ken. Good morning. How are you?
Milder. What's going on? I'm good.
It's going to stay unusually chilly, at least through the rest of the day today. You know, we started out this morning down in the teens, and through the afternoon, we will ultimately climb back up into the afternoon highs, which will be well up into the 30s only we should be making it into the 40s at least every single day. Now, tomorrow we make it up to 52 degrees with the mostly cloudy skies by the afternoon. That's thanks to a southerly breeze, and I'll show you that with the Futurecast coming up, as well with the cold front that passes through on Wednesday, providing the rain. There might even be a few embedded rumbles of thunder in there with some heavier downpours working through northwestern New Jersey. Throughout Thursday and Friday, we see things dry out a little bit, climb only to 49 by Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday brings back some cooler weather, but not as chilly as it could be. So there's a milder trend that's showing up, at least day by day here on the 7-day, even though it is painfully cold this morning with a current wind chill in the teens. We'll make it back up into the upper 30s today, better tomorrow at the shore points, 47 by tomorrow afternoon, and then 54 on Wednesday with those showers that come in later Wednesday afternoon into the evening. I think the rain is primarily a Wednesday drive time, evening, late afternoon commute issue. Then Friday into Thursday into Friday bring back a little bit of a cooler feel with temperatures that hold in the 40s. And then the weekend so far, Ken, looks nice and dry, 52 on Saturday with a cooler finish, but more sunshine by Sunday.
No, I'll take more sunshine. Hopefully more sunshine will spell eventually more heat. Keep our fingers crossed. Maybe.
I think it will. And, it's funny because I showed you the climate forecast before, and it was full of that shade of red all over New Jersey. You think, oh, wow, it's going to be so warm. That's only a statistical deviation. So just 1 degree above average would prompt that shade of red. So, just take it in stride. It's likely going to be slightly milder than average, but, not like this big heat wave.
Plus, I'm not used to hearing the term above average. That's been my life. That's another story. My therapist and I talk about it all the time, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. It is 8:18, a chilly 25 degrees right now. We still have some traffic, actually more traffic to talk about now. We have a crash. This happening, the Hudson County Extension eastbound west of Newark Bay Bridge in Newark. All lanes just reopened. The crash moved to the right shoulder, but nonetheless, that's a mess. Vehicle fire reported. This is on the Garden State Parkway in East Orange. 2 right lanes closed at I-280 westbound west of exit 12. Problems on the Garden State Parkway northbound south of exit 143C, Route 124 Irvington to south of 145 in East Orange. All lanes open. There's a 2-mile delay there, and delays on the turnpike outside exit interchange 15E. That's 1 and 9 in Newark. That's all due to volume. Delays on Route 46 eastbound west of Main Street to Island Avenue in Roxbury Township. Travel time there's about 15 to 20 minutes. And delays on Route 10 eastbound from Ledgewood Traffic Circle to Island Place in Roxbury Township, all connected to what I just mentioned. We have delays I-80 eastbound east of exit 30. This is not the sinkhole. This is east of exit 30, Howard Boulevard in Roxbury Township to the sinkhole area in Wharton. That's about a 20-minute travel time. Usually it's only about 5 to 7 minutes. And then, of course, as I just gave you a little preview of it, still have that emergency sinkhole repair in Wharton at exit 34 eastbound I-80. That's going to continue for another few weeks as they found more voids in the ground. And the workers there want to make sure that all those voids are safe for you to travel over. So give it another few weeks. Unfortunately, folks, that's going to be the deal. 25 degrees now at 8:19. Do you use Skype for your video conferences? Well, you better figure out a plan B because Microsoft is shutting down the service in May. Here to talk about it and some alternatives for you is our tech expert, Fisher. Fisher is a brand and digital strategist who can be found on X, Threads, and Instagram with username @Fisher and through his website, fisher.media. Good morning, Fisher.
Good morning. I'm afraid that you're going to talk to me about temperatures. I feel you're going to come at me about the weather.
I would never do that. Never do that to you, ever. So now the Skype, as us older folks would call it, the Skype is shutting down and it's only been in existence 21 years.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't even remember that it still existed, right? I think if you heard the word Skype, you're like, does that still exist? Yeah, and it has been around forever. It started in 2003. I almost said 2023. 2003 by a startup in Estonia, I believe. Then eBay purchased it in 2005, and then Microsoft bought it for $8.5 million in 2011. If you think about that in relation to how much it probably be worth today if we were in the same situation, that is pennies on the dollar. But yeah, it's going to shut down on May 5th, and you have the opportunity to create an account in Teams, or you can migrate your account. Now, if you work in a business, a corporation, most likely you've been using Teams forever. Skype has really been, and when it started in 2003, the beginning of face-to-face meetings or virtual meetings, right? It was the first real program to use VoIP, voice over internet protocol, instead of a phone call or America Online, CompuServe. I mean, remember, this was all before Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp and all of it. So it has been around for a while, but Teams, when you upgrade, even though when you mention Teams to people, especially people that work in a corporate setting, they want anything but Teams, but Teams will have advanced features, all the features that you used to with Skype, but advanced features including hosting meetings, messaging, calendars, things of that sort. This isn't unprecedented for Microsoft. If you're a Windows user, we went through this with Internet Explorer, right? We were used to Internet Explorer as our web browser, and then you were migrated. You were kind of told that Internet Explorer was going away, and Microsoft Edge is your browser now.
So here's the deal. Microsoft took over, they bought Skype. And rather than taking the infrastructure and building on it and improving it, they had their own. It's like, did they just buy Skype to put it out of business? Is that what they did so that they could then take their own version in Teams, or what?
No, so it's sort of like Internet Explorer. And again, Internet Explorer is a little different because it is a Microsoft program. But what happens is technically, with the technology, they take pieces, especially for programs that they buy like Skype, right? And the same thing for Meta. We had Facebook. They bought Instagram. Instagram is not a Meta product. So what happens is they take pieces of it and they integrate it in. And then as you begin building the technology in the back end, things become a little more wired in. So Teams is a native app, rather than taking a third party and making it part. It's sort of like if you upgraded your car with a new exhaust or a new head unit for your stereo system. It acts different. There's a couple of things that may or may not work as well as the OEM stuff that comes with your car. So same thing. So as they upgrade Windows and they make things more integrated, Teams is better at that, and they use pieces of Skype, but it's harder to take a third party and totally integrate it into a program.
So if you don't want to use Microsoft Teams, because I know a lot of people do not like Microsoft Teams, it could be quirky, et cetera. What are some of the other options out there?
Yeah, so Google, if you have a Chrome browser, pretty native is Google Meet. It replaced Hangouts. Zoom, popular one, obviously. You can use WhatsApp. You can use FaceTime. FaceTime now, you can do conference calling. Now, you usually don't use that in a corporate setting, but you definitely can use that with friends and family. You could put it up on your Apple TV. So it depends on what system you have. If you're an Android user, Google Meet is a great app to use, and it's native to your phone.
So Google Meet, is that the equivalent to Apple's version? I'm a Google guy. I'm an Android guy. Is that the equivalent to the FaceTime?
For the most part, you still, there's an app for it, just like there is FaceTime. I feel FaceTime is a little more integrated into Apple products than Google Meet would be, but still, it's on the same platform. It's Android. You'll have a standalone app. Plus, with Google Meet, which is something that FaceTime doesn't, well, I take that back. The latest version of FaceTime does offer, as you are an Android user, Ken, I could send you a link for you to join me on a call. FaceTime, but I could also download the Google Meet app, which I won't. But if we wanted to use that, we can use Google Meet, and the app is native, and both of us could use Google Meet with no problems.
Well, the question now is, are these services all free? And if they are free, will they stay free?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Zoom offers, I believe it's 40 minutes free. So you can have a meeting up to 40 minutes. And then at that point, it just literally kicks you off. But Google Meet is free. WhatsApp, obviously free. You can use Instagram video as well. In Instagram in the message, you can do video calls, and FaceTime is free. So there are a lot of free options out there. Just folks who are used to using Skype are just used to it. And that's, it's kind of that moving my cheese. But in reality, the amount of people using Skype is very minimal, in the single digits to lower, double digits usage compared to a Teams, a Zoom, FaceTime, et cetera.
You know what? Doing what I do, having worked in television the years I've worked, and doing remote broadcast, especially during the pandemic, Skype was sort of the go-to. And all the major networks, when you watch Fox News Channel, CNN, MSNBC, literally all of them, when they cut to somebody remotely, probably 7 out of 10 of them are on Skype. So as you and I discussed this off air as well,
Yep.
because whenever we do hits and stuff remotely, a lot of companies use Skype. Now, this channel is not using Skype. We're using something else. But Skype has always been there. And the funny thing is, Skype from a visual perspective is not the clearest. I think Microsoft Teams has a higher resolution. So now we're getting into the weeds, but for television
Right.
broadcast, Microsoft Teams is actually better, but there are more steps in selecting the microphone and selecting the camera and things like that that can throw people off, I think. And that's why
And that's
Skype was nice, because you just
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm
And
sorry.
that's why it's easy for families to use and grandma to use or whatever the case is. And again, to your point, for TV, they just send a link, you click it, it allow, do you want to allow this to use your camera and your sound? Yes, and you're done. Instead of all the other settings that all these other things do. So yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely an upgrade. But again, a lot of people have been using it, Teams that is. So it should be an easy transition.
All right, just to transition now, you had talked briefly about the company Meta before, but for a different purpose. Now let's switch gears a little bit about Meta. They are talking about creating a new massive artificial intelligence data center project. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars. Talk about that.
Yeah. So, Apple had the announcement, what was it, a week, 10 days ago, about investing $500 billion over the next couple of years into AI, and Meta is doing the same thing. Now, Meta has already integrated AI into Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp in search features. And a lot of companies are now breaking out that technology into standalone apps. ChatGPT is an app, and many of those, if you use ChatGPT, you're familiar with that. Perplexity is a lesser known app. Grok is from XAI, so from Twitter, X, Elon Musk's company. These are all standalone apps now. This is a rumor about Meta breaking out that app into its or breaking out that functionality of the AI into its own app. But Zuckerberg did talk about this during the company's fourth quarter earnings call in January. He said this is going to be the year when a highly intelligent and personalized AI assistant reaches more than 1 billion people. And I, Mark Zuckerberg, expect Meta AI to be that leading AI assistant. Again, they're all doing it. Microsoft's probably going to release one at some point. Google will. And really, it will just take the ability, and they're going to integrate it into this. We talked about this last week and set off my, who in my house by saying it, but that's where it's going to go. They really want you to subscribe, and that's what will happen. Is a lot of these are free for now, but it'll be a subscription service, because as you need more, picture rendering, video rendering, you can upload a video to a system, an AI assistant, and ask it to create an Instagram reel based on this 30-minute video. That's going to take more processing power. So this will not be free for advanced use. It might be free as a search, if you will. But we'll see. There's a lot of possibilities, but they need capital, and this isn't going to be one of those you'll see a brief banner ad and that's going to do it. So you'll definitely be paying for this.
Did you not want to mention the word Alexa to activate that in your house? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, the other one, but I luckily have you here, so as long as I don't say it, nothing will happen. So,
Oh, the GOOGLE?
yes, and the SIRI.
Okay.
Yep. But again,
Oh,
you
that
can't.
one. Okay.
I can hear you, so I'm safe.
All right. So a lot of people don't realize, and I only realize after reading about it, how when these companies create these AI centers, that they're the size of a Costco, and they need to be super cooled, air conditioned. A lot of times they even put them in cold climates, right? Because it's easier to then bring in the geothermal cooling, because it costs millions to cool down these electronic systems. So it is and we're talking like hundreds of companies, each one doing its own data center that is enormous. And now I was even reading a lot of these data centers are located like in Norway and Sweden and near the Arctic Circle. They're even putting them because that way they could get the geothermals to keep things cool, which I find fascinating. But the question is, go ahead.
They're also putting them in the ocean. You could put computers down that are surrounded by it's sort of the same way of like a nuclear reactor, right? So the nuclear reactor is in a pool, so it's that same kind of thought process that you keep it cool by having the water rushing around it.
So that becomes the coolant is the cold ocean water, which is like 50 degrees or 45 degrees, constantly circulating through to keep the circuits cold, because the circuits they can overheat quickly from friction.
Hello,
right?
Andrea.
It's the electrons
Yes.
moving high
Hi, it's
speed,
Gerald. How are you?
and that could be
Hi. I
could be a
apologize.
problem. Mike,
Absolutely.
Are you hearing that right now? Okay, I'm
Got
sorry. We're hearing something else here. That's been fixed. But the issue again being that these systems need to be mega cooled or meta cooled, as the case may be in this case, and that does cost money. So it makes a lot of sense that they would use ocean water or put things in a cold climate. And see, but the question is with AI, and for those who are wondering, well, what's the difference between AI and just a Google search? And somebody over the weekend explained it to me. With Google, and here I shouldn't be saying that out loud, it's activating phones probably, but with Google, you can say, make me a reservation at Joe's restaurant. All right. But with AI, you can say, find me a good restaurant that I'd like and make a reservation, correct? And based on what it's learned about you, it can do that.
Absolutely. And you know, that's the early part. Google was actually doing this kind of version. It was early AI where you could say something like you said, make me a reservation at the Italian restaurant down the street. And they had a human-like computer call the restaurant and say, I would like to make a reservation for Ken Rosato, and it would do it and understand the talkback. So yes, this is the next step in really all of this. And again, to your point, you could say, I'd like a reservation June 26th at 8 p.m. at an Italian restaurant that serves sausage and meatballs, and I can bring my dog. And I need it within a 5-mile radius. It really gets that detailed. But the power that is needed for all this, and you were talking about the cooling because of all the energy, you need real estate for all of this. You need electricity. So there's a lot. And that's why there are the billions of dollars. There is the billions of dollars, pardon me, too early in the morning, of investment by all of these companies into AI to really, you know, it is that next level learning. And so, you know, will it turn into iRobot with Will Smith? We'll see, but it's going to get closer to it.
That's pretty amazing. And again, the fact that this isn't just one company doing it, but literally every single company, including social media companies, doing it. You have X and Facebook, Instagram. Everyone has their own AI, and they're developing kind of their own version of it. It's not like one universal AI, right? Everybody has their own version, and they're all competing still to make theirs the best, which is fascinating to me.
And also for now, remember, I mean, this is sort of like a tech boom, right? So there used to be Netscape and Google, I'm trying to think, Internet Explorer. There used to be all these browsers, Opera, Mozilla, Firefox, and then those kind of weeded out, right? And then social media, or even back in the day, AOL, CompuServe, Prodigy, they kind of weeded themselves out. So this is sort of the same thing. Search, right? It was Google, it was Bing. There were a lot of other search engines, and now primarily it's Google. Bing's also around. So this AI will go that way, that they'll eventually sort themselves out of who's really the leader in AI, and then other companies just won't want to support that. So, you know, you'll see companies kind of take on other AI assistants and do deals with companies. Tesla, obviously, or in terms of the EV market, that happened to everybody, and they're all now using the Tesla standard. It's going to happen with AI.
All right, just a matter of time, and you will, of course, tell us about it as it's happening. Fisher, thank you so much for being on this morning. Appreciate you, bud.
Have a great day.
You bet. Oh, you too. Fisher is a brand and digital strategist who can be found on X, Threads, and Instagram with username @Fisher, and through his website, fisher.media. It is now 25 degrees at 8:35. When we come back, the history of Italian Americans in Newark, the author of a book that details the birth and growth of New Jersey's largest Little Italy. Plus, meteorologist Mike Bavetta has the sunny Garden State forecast, but it'll be cold, and we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, which you could stream at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. We also stream live on Rumble and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/OnNewJersey, all spelled out. Back in 2 minutes. Good morning. It is 8:38. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Lots of sunshine today, but still very chilly with highs only in the mid-30s. Meteorologist Mike Pavetta has put in a call to Mother Nature to find out what the heck is going on. Garden State
I know.
forecast.
I
Good morning.
just
Good
can't
morning.
seem to get through. Apparently, all the lines are busy because a lot of people complaining. It's that complaint department that's open. That's what it is. At least I'm calling my office. So, some good news there. The forecast, though, very cold this morning. And while it's not usual to have weather this chilly for this late in winter, it's seen from time to time, even in Newark with a starting temperature of 28 degrees, 22 in Sussex, and 27 by Mount Holly, 26 in Trenton. So we're below the freezing mark at all points across the Garden State. The wind gusts are fresh right now, gusting anywhere from 3 up to 13 miles per hour, keeping it chilly, especially in the northern sections of the state, with that northwesterly wind now at 8:38 this morning, making the wind chill feel like it's in the teens. Feels like 17 in Morristown, 21 in Long Branch, 19 in Toms River, and 18 in Mount Holly. This will be the case for a good portion of the day. The winds won't be that gusty, but it'll still feel very chilly even through this afternoon. Hey, at least we're running anywhere from 2 to 8 degrees warmer than this time yesterday at 8:39. So better news that we're going in the right direction, at least warming things into this afternoon. Had a few thin clouds arrive overnight, made for a beautiful sunrise. And now into this afternoon, we will see a nice clear start to the day and stay clear into the evening hours. So clear all around. Sunshine going to be a big part of today's weather, but the heat from that sun, not at all. It's all about the cold. 34 as our forecast temperature by noon in Trenton, 29 in Ship Bottom. There are places along the shore that don't even make it to the freezing mark until we get to tomorrow morning. So while there's a few clouds around this time tomorrow morning, temperatures will cross into the 40s and then jump into the 50s, maybe even near 60 degrees, like for you in Trenton. 59 degrees, 59 in Camden, 56 up in Newark and Hackensack. So tomorrow afternoon will feel very pleasant with a load of sun, nice mild weather, very similar to what we enjoyed on Saturday up until about 1 o'clock before the front came through and dropped that temperature well back down into the 20s by the evening hours. So while we're nice and quiet to finish out Tuesday, Wednesday starts off kind of messy. There will be some spotty showers around, but the storms don't arrive until Wednesday afternoon and early evening. A lot of colors here with the bright shades of red and orange. This is the cold front that comes in, and the type of cold front that arrives could bring some rumbles of thunder with some thunderstorms and maybe even some isolated gusty winds in excess of 30 or 40 miles per hour. So temperatures start off Wednesday afternoon in the 50s, but come crashing down back into the 40s and 30s later on Wednesday night after that rain pushes through. Tuesday, looking like the best day so far this week. Wednesday's messy, especially with those potential damaging storms by Wednesday afternoon. And then Thursday cools off a little bit as well, but stays pretty decent with the sunshine. There's a drier weekend ahead. We'll tell you about that with another check of your forecast, Ken. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. It is still 25 degrees at 8:41 now, and we have some traffic to talk about. A vehicle fire now on I-280 westbound, just west of exit 12, which is the Garden State Parkway in East Orange. The right lane is closed. We have a crash on the Turnpike Hudson County Extension eastbound west of Newark Bay Bridge in Newark. Vehicles have been moved to the right shoulder, but that is still causing some rubbernecking delays. We have delays on the Garden State Parkway northbound at exit 150, Hoover Avenue in Bloomfield to exit 153A, Route 3 in Clifton. All lanes open, but there's a 3-mile delay through the stretch. And we have emergency construction still going on that sinkhole on I-80 eastbound at exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. All lanes are closed and being detoured off. It is 8:42 right now. There is a fascinating new book that uncovers the rich history of Newark through the lens of its vibrant Italian-American community. Italians of Newark, a history, published by Arcadia Publishing, takes readers on a journey from the late 19th century to today, exploring the triumphs, challenges, and enduring legacy of Italian immigrants in the Garden State. Joining us now is the author, Andrea Van Benschoten, a proud Jersey girl. And I hope I pronounced the Dutch part of the name correctly. Did I?
Pretty close. It's Van Benschoten.
Pronounce it properly.
I call it acquired Dutch.
So that is a later acquired last name, I guess, right?
Yes. 30 years
All
ago.
right, Andrea. But I will remember. I will remember. It's Van Benschoten. Your book traces the arrival of Italian immigrants to Newark between 1880 and 1924. That's when over 4 million Italians came to the United States, I should say legally. What drew so many Italians to Newark specifically, by the way, and what kind of community did they build in the beautiful Garden State city?
Well, mainly they came for jobs. They were looking for opportunities to provide for their families. And when they first arrived in New York via Ellis Island or any other type of area, or possibly Philly, they were looking for opportunity. And what they wound up doing was finding not a whole lot available in New York, as there were already different ethnicities on their way prior to them. And one individual wound up crossing the Hudson accidentally and came across Newark and found all this work. So when he went back to his community a few days later, said, hey, there's all these jobs. And that's how the first ward began, which has really was in place from, let's say, the early 1880s until the 1950s. That was primarily from immigrants from Avellino. And then Sicilians wound up going to the area around what eventually became Our Lady of Mount Carmel, which is now where Penn Station is located in Newark. But it was mainly for jobs.
I'm sorry to step on you. Forgive me, only because I see what's going on with our time here. Didn't that also usher in a lot of the Portuguese migration? Didn't they also come to the first ward years later?
It did. They primarily came around Our Lady of Mount Carmel, which is the Ironbound, or known as Down Neck. As Italians began to move out in the 60s and the 70s, that's when the Portuguese began to come in, and they still have a very vibrant community to today.
Yeah, and a very similar culture. I mean, so many of my Portuguese friends, the cooking and the conversation, eu falo português, I parlo italiano, I speak both, and I have nice conversations with my Portuguese friends, and they're very proud of the neighborhood as well. And they love Italians too. We get along very, very well together. Can you paint the picture, because that sort of became the first Little Italy for the whole Garden State. Paint the picture for what life was like there at its peak. What would you say the epicenter peak was for it? And talk about the food, the social clubs that really defined that first ward.
That first ward wound up to be the largest in its heyday, was the largest first ward, the largest Little Italy in New Jersey, and the 5th largest in the country. It had, as you mentioned, social clubs. The heartbeat really was St. Lucy's, and it is until today. As I mentioned, the majority of the immigrants came from Avellino, and they were all familiar with each other's customs. Even though the regional language might have shifted a little bit from community to community, they were still all paisan. So they really looked to the church as their epicenter for everything. And there were, as you mentioned, social clubs where they played bocce, they had their gardens, but they also learned American baseball. A lot of the clubs had baseball teams, and they really wanted to be American. They wanted to prove they were worthy of this opportunity. And they had feasts at the church almost every weekend from, let's say, Easter time until the one that still takes place today, which is St. Gerard, which is in mid-October. That's still, even though the original community isn't there per se anymore, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren still come by the tens of thousands in mid-October to still celebrate their patron saint as well as their community.
Yeah, I'm originally from southern Westchester County on the Bronx border, but since moving to New Jersey in the early 2000s, I think I've only missed 1 or 2 St. Gerard feasts at St. Lucy's, and St. Lucy's is such a beautiful style church. It's very Italian, Romanesque feeling inside, marble. It's just dripping with Italy, and I mean that in the best way. Beautiful church.
Absolutely.
And what's great is it's only blocks away from the cathedral, from the basilica, but yet it stands its own. I mean, people will go to St. Lucy's over the cathedral because of how beautiful it is and how welcoming. So now in the book, you talk about the mid-century urban renewal that displaced 4,600 people from the old First Ward. So how did that impact the Italian community, and what efforts were made to preserve their culture in the face of that?
It was a very difficult challenge for those who lived there. My family came in, my first relative, my great grandfather, came in 1888, and they stayed there until the neighborhood changed with the Columbus houses. It really affected the whole community. Route 280 was originally, what is now Route 280, was originally the main epicenter from a community standpoint. It literally cut the community in half. So what wound up happening is all those communities were displaced, all those people were displaced. The local mom and pop shops were eliminated virtually. So some of them did move back to Columbus homes once they opened. Very few did. A lot of them scattered. Some went to East Orange, like my family did for a period of time before they moved to Belleville. Some of them went to Bloomfield. Some of them went to Nutley, but they all stayed fairly close because they all continued to go back to St. Lucy's, which is, as you mentioned, just beautiful. And it is on the Register of Historic Places. And of course,
and St. Gerard is the national shrine too. So that's where there are relics of St. Gerard there. And again, we're down to about 30 seconds, and I just want to get in. You grew up in Belleville, which I lived in, so I love Belleville. It's a great town. And I noticed that there was the migration of so many Italians up Bloomfield Avenue, right? You started out in Newark, and then you went to Belleville and Nutley and on until you got to the Caldwells, and out it went. It's like just follow Bloomfield Avenue all the way out. So now it's sort of a diaspora of Italian Americans throughout that part of New Jersey. And then there was the other migration that you had from Brooklyn that went across right through Staten Island to that part of New Jersey, which is like a separate migration of Italians, which is just fascinating to see that. How does this migration kind of inspire you to write Italians of Newark? How did that impact you?
It really gave me, I always appreciated, I was told since I was a child, never forget where you came from. And we all took that to heart. And the older I became, the more I realized I wanted to learn more. And it gave me an even greater appreciation for all they endured, so that I had the opportunity to go to college, to learn, to become a professional individual. These opportunities they never had. And I am keenly aware that I stand on their shoulders, and it's because of their sacrifice that I'm here.
Well, we're going to have you back on again when we have more time, and we'll talk about giambotta and all the great dishes, because I'm an Italian foodie. I love to cook. I worked in Italian restaurants for years, so you and I could get together. We'd probably gain 500 pounds together, but we will have you back, please. All right, my friend,
thank you so much.
Italians. It was a pleasure, Andrea. Author of Italians of Newark, A History, Andrea Lynn Camarato Van Benschoten. Did I get that?
Perfect.
All right. Thank you for joining us this morning. Again, please come back. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you so very much.
You bet. All right. It is now 25 degrees, 8:52. We're going to skip the break, Pam. I'll say it on the air. So if we can get Mike in, if he's ready, we will get Mike in. I'm throwing a curveball at him live on the air. He's the best. Mike is always ready. So let's bring in meteorologist Mike Pavetta to talk about a chilly but sunny Garden State forecast. Good morning, sir. Thank you for being here.
See, you were lucky. I had my slice of pizza before, and that's why I was a little late. But now, all ready to go. Ready, energized, we're set. Got to carb it up on a Monday morning to make it through the week. It's so much cold weather. Need something to keep you warm, Ken, especially because it's been frigid outside. You walk outside, you feel like it's the middle of winter, and even this afternoon, noontime temperatures. When will this cold quit? Well, we actually have to wait till tomorrow, because tomorrow afternoon will feel surprising. Even though the morning hours will be cold in the 30s with clouds, the sun returns tomorrow afternoon, but look at the wind. The wind allows for a beautiful, mild fetch of air, not for the shoreline location. Sorry, you guys stay chilly. But everywhere else will warm into the upper 50s, near 60 over in Trenton, Flemington, Morristown, Newark, and Hackensack, well above average. And we'll enjoy that right through tomorrow evening. So a very pleasant finish to your Tuesday, feeling just like it did on Saturday with that lovely spring feel, again, before the front came through and dropped temperatures 30 degrees. Then for Wednesday morning, it's cloudy. I think we're dry for the most part. It's the Wednesday afternoon and early evening. That's the line of storms that pushes through that could bring gusty winds as well as some heavy rain and maybe even some thunder and lightning as well as that front moves across New Jersey. It's not on the map right now, so we'll enjoy the calm while it lasts, especially with the clearing that takes over. Temperatures today will only climb into the low 30s, maybe mid 30s at best. This is well below average. We should make it to the mid 40s each day. Not going to happen today. And then after the rain on Wednesday, we look ahead to a dry Thursday and Friday. The weekend looks a little cloudy to start, especially on Saturday, but I think we should be dry with any of those showers staying away from New Jersey. The weekend forecast starts off milder in the low 50s, but eventually cools off by Sunday with a low of 22, climbing to 44 by the afternoon. So a little bit of a dip, a little bit of a chill returning, but overall it's a milder trend, Ken, and we'll take it day by day as we continue with meteorological spring. As you mentioned, astronomical spring doesn't begin until the end of the month, but we got a lot to get there before that.
We got a message from Mother Nature, Mike. She says, meteorological spring, haha, I laugh on you. It's just something to keep in mind that you cannot fool Mother Nature. Thank you, sir.
Nope. You bet. See you tomorrow.
It is 20. We'll see you tomorrow. 25 degrees now at 8:54. And a quick traffic note, we have a problem vehicle fire on I-280 eastbound west of exit 12 Garden State Parkway in East Orange, a right lane closed, and still have that sinkhole on I-80, and that is located, of course, exit 34 eastbound in Wharton. All lanes remain closed, and that is causing a detour. 8:55, Americans are largely split on which groups of children they think should automatically become citizens. That's according to a new YouGov survey. The survey was released Friday. It includes 51% of respondents who support the view that all children born in the U.S., no matter whether their parents are citizens, automatically become citizens. Meanwhile, nearly 40% of respondents align with the view that children born in the U.S. should automatically become citizens only if their parents are citizens or legal residents. 9% say they're just not sure, haven't read up on it. I'll bet you didn't know that the U.S. never actually had an official language. Until now, English was the language spoken by the vast majority of citizens here, and including now. It has always been considered the language associated with business and success, while Spanish was spoken as a distant second. Well, it's all changed now. On Saturday, President Trump signed an executive order that officially makes English the language of the United States. That means it will be the official language of government and the official language that is taught in school. While this has not been clarified, though, some have hypothesized it could mean that schools may not be required to teach classes in different languages. I mean, they could still do it if they want and they have the money, but they won't be legally required to do so. And government forms don't have to be available in multiple languages. I mean, if it's practical, they probably will be, but otherwise they don't have to be. Having no one official language has often led to confusion and significant added expense for local school districts, police departments, hospitals, and other public facilities that had to scramble to find interpreters who could translate scores of languages and make forms available in whatever language they were presented with. 8:56, a new study has revealed that palm trees once flourished in what is now subarctic Canada, offering new insights into ancient Arctic climates. The research was published in the Annals of Botany, and it confirms the region maintained warm temperatures year-round about 48 million years ago when I was 4. Even during months of winter darkness, that was because the Earth was tilted differently. Researchers said the study challenged previous assumptions about when and where ice had first formed in the northern hemisphere. If you're tired of bananas turning brown on you right after you get them home, scientists in Britain have developed a system of bananas that don't go brown and mushy even after you cut them and peel them. The experts have altered the fruit's genetics. What could possibly go wrong? So now you'll have firm, fresh yellow bananas for up to 24 hours after you peel them. The new banana will be available in the U.S. starting the end of March. So there you have it. It is 25 degrees at 8:57, and that is on New Jersey Mornings for Monday, March 3rd. I'm Ken Rosato. Meteorologist Mike Pavetta says sunny but cold today, highs only in the mid-30s. Remember, we stream at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News on a whole bunch of other ways. We'll see you tomorrow morning starting at 7. Have a great day.